He has heard me say God is not sovereign. True or false? Depends on what you mean by sovereign. And this is where the actual discussion happens, is what does the word sovereign mean? And the thing of it is the word sovereign is not a biblical term. It's a theological term. If you look in Scripture, the word sovereign never appears in Scripture. Now, NIV uses it for when it uses Yahweh and Adonai, the two names for God, and puts them together, it translates them as sovereign Lord. But there is no statement in Scripture anywhere that says God is sovereign. It's a theological term, and there are actually two different meanings for the term sovereign. If you look in the John Piper, I'll use him just because I respect John so highly. His understanding is God is sovereign means God controls every detail. And John is famous for saying there is no rebellious atom in the entire universe because God is sovereign. So even the sin that's done by the most evil of people is actually God's perfect plan working out to accomplish his greater glory. And John does this very, very well. I highly commend that you look at his stuff. I don't agree with him on this particular point, though I agree with him on most points. The other definition of sovereign, and by that definition, no, I don't believe God is sovereign. I don't think he controls and everything that happens is his perfect plan working out. The other definition of sovereign is that God does not give account to anybody, and God can do anything that he chooses to do at any time he chooses to do it. And I believe that's true. When we say that America is a sovereign nation, we don't say that America controls all the events of the world. What we do say is we do not give account to England, and we haven't always been a sovereign nation, and that we can do anything that we have the power to pull off. There's all kinds of debate about what we should pull off. And I do think God's fully sovereign in that way, so I go to passages like Psalm 115, verse 3, which I do think is a good statement of sovereignty. Psalm 115:3 says, gosh, Psalm 119 goes forever. He says this, why should the nations say, where is their God? Psalm 115:3, our God is in the heavens, he does all that he pleases. I think that's a statement of God's sovereignty. Psalm 33, 9 and 10 has a similar kind of statement. Psalm 33, verse 9, he spoke and it came to be, he commanded, it stood firm. The Lord brings the counsel of the nations to nothing. He frustrates the plans of the people. The counsel of the Lord stands forever, the plans of his heart to all generations. And I think what that's saying is when it comes to the plans of the nation, that's not the result of his sovereign decree, but rather that he can overrule their evilness when he chooses to do that. But when he makes a plan, no nation can stop it, not even Satan himself. So I would say God is sovereign, but I'd say it in definition 2, not definition 1. And what happens is that in the debates, in the discussions, the term sovereign goes to definition 1 as the default. And what I want to do is back that up one step and say, what do you mean by sovereign? And I think the better biblical definition of sovereign is it means that God does not give account to anybody, and God does whatever he pleases, when he pleases, and when he acts, nobody and nothing can stop him. And I fully believe the sovereignty of God in that sense. Go ahead.